Out of the 330 million people in America, the most recognizable LeBron James fan is of course Shannon Sharpe. And when it comes to defending LeBron James, he would do quite literally anything to defend his greatness, whether it be wearing a goat mask or fighting an entire NBA team like he did versus Memphis. Now in today's video, we're going to listen to Shannon's updated takes on LeBron versus Jordan after LeBron passed Kareem as the NBA's all-time leading scorer. And with that being said, let's roll our first clip.
LeBron now is number 1 in points, 4th in assists, 9th all-time in steals, 9th in threes. And look, I get what Jordan did. Jordan won 6 titles with the same team, but LeBron has won 3 titles. And Jordan had historically great coaches, historically great coach, especially in Phil Jackson. And so to win 3 titles, 3 different teams, 3 different systems, and he won one with Eric Spoelstra, won one with Ty Lue and Frank Vogel.
Now, stopping Shannon right there, if you want to debate championships and who is the greater overall winner, looking at Jordan, he won 6 championships, three-peated twice, made 6 finals in 8 years, and not once lost on the biggest stage. Compare LeBron James, who does have 4 championships, made 10 total finals, including 8 straight. But unfortunately for LeBron, he lost 6 times in the finals, and not once three-peated. I'll give LeBron James credit, he made the finals more often than Jordan, but to my knowledge, the NBA does not give out second place trophies for losing on the biggest stage. And when Shannon talks coaches, of course, he brings up Phil Jackson, who yes, is one of the top 3 best coaches in NBA history. But to add some context, back in the late 80s, early 90s, that Phil Jackson wasn't the same Phil that has 11 rings. As before coming to the Bulls, he was coaching in Puerto Rico, winning CBA championships. And when he came to the Bulls, off the bat, he wasn't a head coach, he was an assistant. Yes, by 96, 98, 01, Phil Jackson was an all-time great coach. But back in 91, 92, even 93, Phil at that time wasn't the best coach in NBA history. And one debate Shannon did raise is looking at 6 championships in one place compared to 4 in 3 different places. For me, both are highly impressive, but looking at 6 in one place, that sustained greatness is greater than 4 championships with 3 different teams. For example, look at the KD Warriors from 2017 to 2019. Every year that team was the best overall team. When they had Kevin Durant, they were virtually unbeatable. But what happened? They had chemistry problems, injuries, and the media constantly grinded them down with questions day in and day out, and the overall drama was too much for them to bear. Now looking at the Bulls, just like Golden State, they were in the spotlight 365, 24/7. And as the champs, very few teams and even players can deal with that pressure all the time. And for Jordan, he won 6 rings in the same spot with a roster that got increasingly older until 1998, the oldest roster in NBA history. I'll give LeBron James credit, everywhere he went won a championship. But unlike Jordan, he could press the reset button, leave teams, join teams, build big threes, and destroy big threes. My overall point being, Jordan in the 90s built a dynasty and sustained it for nearly a decade. Compare LeBron James, who did build championship teams, but eventually left them due to various reasons, that being age, injuries, and mental fatigue.
Okay, well, the shock of this season to me, watching what do my eyes tell me, I have never, ever seen a superstar playing at such a high level have so little impact on a one-loss record as LeBron is having on the Lakers' one loss right now, because they're 5 games under 500. It's Jordan-esque in Washington. That's what's happening right now.
Skip, you do realize...
And he's got Anthony Davis and, for what it's worth, Russell Westbrook.
Skip, it takes more. You remember when Jordan was winning those scoring titles and they was losing?
Now, right there in that clip, Skip Bayless, for once in his life, had a pretty decent point. As looking around the NBA, there are a lot of scorers who put up empty calories and inflated stats. And looking at LeBron James, he puts up fantastic numbers, but those stats, unlike in past years, aren't translating to W's. For example, in NBA history, 85 times a player has averaged 30 points. LeBron this year, on win shares average, ranks 78th out of those players. Even looking back at 2022, that year for wins average, he ranked 72nd out of 85. What I'm saying, LeBron's points, while impressive, aren't as valuable as other 30-point seasons in NBA history. And one point Shannon did make is that Jordan, when he won his scoring titles, he was not getting W's and winning games. And what I'm going to assume Shannon is talking about is 85 to 90 before Jordan won his championships. Looking at that time period, Jordan won 4 scoring titles all in a row. And looking at his team's records, only 1 year did he have a losing record, going 40-42 in 1987. The following years, he went 50-32, 47-35, and 55 in 27. And all 4 years Jordan, his Bulls teams, made the playoffs. Compared to LeBron James, who last year went 33-49 while averaging 30. And this year, the Lakers are on pace to go 36-46 and not make the playoffs for the second straight year.
Shall I start on the meltdowns? Because Michael had 0 meltdowns. There's no you can't find me one playoff series where you say, he just melted down. He just faded away. He lost it.
He never melted down, but did he ever lose a playoff series? See, what you get caught up in is how he lost the series. Did you win or did you lose? That's all the thing on the menu at my restaurant. When you club to Club Shay Shay, you get a dub or you get an L. So which one did he get?
So stopping Shannon right there, that clip was the creme de la creme of LeBron fan hypocrisy, as Shannon wants to ignore all context for Jordan when he loses a playoff series, saying, quote, "A Club Shay Shay will only serve W's and L's." I find that comment pretty rich, as for the past decade, every time LeBron James loses, what's the excuse we hear? Well, he put up great numbers, had great stats. LeBron did his part, it's his teammates who we should blame. I've heard that for the past decade ad nauseum. And the irony of Shannon Sharpe, a massive LeBron James fan, using black and white logic, you either win or lose, is so hypocritical. As back in 2017, Shannon Sharpe himself defended LeBron James losing the finals by bringing up stats. And Shannon doing that isn't wrong on his part, but is hypocritical looking at his take 7 years later. As nowadays for Jordan, he's clearly saying for a playoff series, it's either win or lose, no context, no stats, no added information. All I'm trying to prove is that Shannon Sharpe has massive double standards for Jordan when compared to LeBron James.
2011, I've never seen anything like it before. He goes up 2-1. He goes back to his hotel, according to ESPN, and he's making a list. I'm going to tell him so and tell him so, tell him so. And games 4, 5, and 6, even you have to admit, it was not a pretty sight.
But Skip, I remember when Jordan went up 2-1 on the Pistons. Did anybody say he quit?
No, because
they lost
they
the
had
game.
hell to pay trying to stop it.
Hold on, no, Skip. See, you keep saying they had hell to pay, and they wrote books on how the Jordan rules. At the end of the day, he lost.
Okay.
But you see, what y'all do is y'all found a way to romanticize losing when it comes to Jordan. Like when he dropped 63 against the Celtics, they lost.
That was pretty romantic to me.
Who in the hell get credit for losing?
Now, stopping that clip right there, I have to address the elephant in the room. As for that comparison, Shannon Sharpe was looking at Jordan 89 blowing a 2-1 lead versus the Pistons and making equivalency to LeBron James in 2011, also being up 2-1 versus Dallas. This right here is the definition of being disingenuous. As looking at Jordan, when he blew his 2-1 lead versus Detroit, he averaged 24 points, 9 assists, 4 boards on 45-33 and 67 splits. Compared to LeBron James, blowing a 2-1 lead versus Dallas, who averaged 15 points, 8 assists, 7 boards on 44-17 and 40 splits. Yes, it is true both these players blew a 2-1 lead, but looking at their individual play, Jordan easily was better than LeBron James. And adding even more context, Jordan 89, his best teammate was Craig Hodges, who averaged 12 points. His second best teammate was Bill Cartwright, who averaged 11. And that Bulls team, they were a 6th seed and miraculously made it to the conference finals where they played the Pistons. And that Pistons team had the best record in the NBA, and in the playoffs only lost 2 games, both to Chicago. Now looking at 2011, LeBron James had a big 3 and a super team, with Dwayne Wade averaging 27 and Chris Bosh averaging 18. And for this series, they are the heavy odds-on favorites to to beat the old Dallas Mavericks. And once again, looking at hypocrisy, when it comes to Shannon Sharpe, he says Jordan fans, quote-unquote, romanticize losing. With that quote in mind, let's look at Shannon Sharpe back in 2018 after Game 1 of the Finals where LeBron dropped 51 in a loss.
He goes 51, and he goes 19 of 32 on 59% shooting. He shoots 91% from the free throw line. He did everything that he could do, and still that wasn't enough because somehow, even though he was great, you're going to have to offset Kevin Durant's 26, and you're going to have to offset Klay Thompson's 24. Okay, so they cancel out LeBron. And then you got Steph goes and get 29. And then you got Draymond goes and does what he does. So that's the problem that they're up against.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but in that clip, Shannon Sharpe was adding a lot of context to the Cavaliers, their roster, when they didn't win Game 1. Compared to Jordan, when he loses a game or a series, it's, well, Jordan, he just lost. Jordan wasn't good enough, he lost. Compared to with LeBron, where Shannon has more context, as well as nuance.
What you and others have done is sell Michael Jordan as flawless. He's perfect. He's never missed a shot. He's never missed a free throw.
He
never
once
traveled.
did an ad for Nike in which he talked about, I've missed a lot of late shots.
But that's not
right?
what you never said that.
Okay.
All you talk about is what Jordan has done. You never talk about his flaws and what he hasn't done.
I covered him, and every time they really needed a hoop, he just got the hoop.
Every time.
And how he
Every time.
Well, not every time, but a majority, more than anybody I've ever covered. He was a force of nature.
But the numbers say LeBron James has hit more clutch playoff shots than Jordan. That's what the numbers say.
Now, stopping Shannon right there is a fundamental misunderstanding of Jordan fans and the GOAT argument. As looking at Jordan, absolutely nobody is saying he never missed a shot, never choked, never had a bad game or a down moment. What we're saying is that compared to LeBron James, Jordan's bad moments aren't nearly as horrible. And one common tactic from Shannon he has used in this debate is comparing Jordan to perfection and not to LeBron James. Because Shannon knows if he compares him to Jordan directly, LeBron James will lose that debate 10 times out of 10. And one more point Shannon did raise is the overall clutch factor of Jordan and LeBron. And as you could imagine, Shannon Sharpe thinks LeBron James is the better late game shot maker. But looking at the actual facts when it comes to playoffs, on game time go-ahead shots in the fourth quarter overtime, Michael Jordan beats LeBron in every category. Looking at the final 24 seconds, Jordan shoots 50%, compared to LeBron, who shoots 36%. The final 10 seconds, Jordan shoots 47%, LeBron 39%. Now the final 5, Jordan shoots 46, compared to LeBron, who shoots 39. And I do want to add one more thing in there, looking at LeBron. For his career, he has more playoff buzzer beaters than Jordan. But one thing I will add, looking at their clutch time shots, for Jordan, he didn't have as many buzzer beaters, but the clutch shots he made were vastly more important. As looking at 98 in Game 6, that shot right there is bigger than any shot LeBron James has ever hit in his career. And that shot by Jordan basically won a championship, clinched a series, and gave him his 6th championship in 8 years. Yes, it wasn't a buzzer beater, but on a clutch time factor, it's iconic and one of the greatest shots in NBA history. Even going one step further, looking at the OG shot, in 1988, Michael Jordan hit a buzzer beater versus the Cavaliers. In this game, the series was on the line and it was win or go home, with the Bulls down by 1 point.
Jordan did everything that you said he's doing, but he also had moments in which he didn't do what you said he's doing.
He was human.
And that's what I'm trying to tell you, is that LeBron is human. As great as someone is, they can have moments in which they don't succeed.
Okay, I'll just say that Jordan was less human than LeBron. That's how I saw him, because he's superhuman.
Now, stopping that clip right there, that is a great point in the video on some common ground with Shannon Sharpe. As looking at LeBron and Jordan, they're in the top tier NBA superstars, and on my list, the top 2 players. But like Skip Bayless said, Michael Jordan was a little less human than LeBron James. In my view, a little bit better, as well as greater. Now, with that being said, that is the end of the video. As always, thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.